Hi, my name is Corey Broman. I live and work in Omaha, Nebraska. I've been working with glass for about 20 years now. I'm primarily a glass blower with an emphasis on vessel making and sculpture. I really want to thank the Museum of Nebraska Art. They're a really great organization, and I hope that everyone can continue to support them. So here we are in my studio. I'm currently working out of the garage in my house. I used to be in a larger industrial space with a lot of people working around me, but I didn't really prefer that so much. So I'm very fortunate to have my own private glass making facility with which I can make my work that's independent of a larger institution or a larger studio setting. It really gives me the freedom to focus on what I want to make and how I want to make it. So this is what's called a marver table. It's a large piece of steel used to cool and shape the glass after it comes out of the furnace. Over here is my bench where I do all of the blowing and sculpting and hand tooling work. These are some of my hand tools. This is a propane torch for more specific heating. And those are my wooden blocks for shaping the material into a nice uniform egg shape. Over here is the glory hole. It stays at a temperature of 21 to 2200 degrees Fahrenheit. It's used to reheat the glass as it cools, which happens fairly frequently, and you need to constantly reheat the material in order to work with it. This is the furnace over here. It stays at a temperature of 2125 degrees Fahrenheit. It's used to melt down the clear glass, and this is where I gather the raw material. Down here is a color oven. This is where I could pick a chunk of color out of, and that will be the color of my piece. But I need to preheat it prior to going into the glory hole, otherwise it would shatter. And this is what's called an annealing oven. It stays at a constant temperature until I put my work in there, and then I can program it to come down in temperature over the course of 8 to 12 hours. To take the stress out of the glass though, so that it doesn't get thermal shocked and crack. This is a large compressor with which I use my sandblasting cabinet. This is a diamond saw which I use to cut and slice the cooled material. And then also this is a flat lap wheel grinder. So it's very important that I have good working equipment at all times. If any one of these pieces were to fail at any point, I wouldn't be able to produce one piece of glass. So there's a lot of maintenance and monitoring that goes into it to ensure that I have a good product at the end of the day. I first witnessed glass blowing when I was about 7 years old. I remember being enamored by this glowing material that could be manipulated with steel tools and fire. I've always been drawn to the transparency, translucency, forms, and textures of elements and objects found in nature. Some of those same attributes can be highlighted using glass as a material for visual expression. I started blowing glass in 1998, taking classes at a small local studio. Then went on to Hastings College in South Central Nebraska to broaden my experience in the craft. I then opened my own studio in 2003. Whether I'm making vessels or abstract sculpture, I try to extract visual properties that can be found in many natural materials, such as water, ice, stone, sand, and vegetation.